Let me now introduce Ana Belén Sánchez, Director of Alinea, who will be presenting the results of the survey Climate Action in the Spanish Business Sector.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. It's such a pleasure to see the room full of friends. Thank you for coming today. We have, I have to do it myself. We have prepared this report that we hope it's going to give a lot of information about how the business community is acting right now in relation to climate action, because that was something that we wanted to do when we first thought about Alinea and the work that we could be doing. We thought that we need more information in order to make things in a different manner. We need more information in order to understand better how to connect each other. And that's why we started with this report that we have done together with Abay Analistas. Maribel and her team is here today. Thank you very much for all your work. You have the report in English and in Spanish in our website, hopefully, because we wanted to do it only at 10, so it's 6 minutes away from 10. First of all, let me tell you about the objectives and the value added of the report. That's, Isabella was already mentioning why we wanted to do it. We wanted to learn more and measure and to understand better how climate action is been undertaken by the Spanish businesses. We wanted to identify key barriers, of course, because without that identification, it's very difficult to overcome them, opportunities, and mechanism for effective action. And the second thing that we wanted to do is to understand better how climate action is related to business competitiveness, because that we felt that there was some kind of lack about this linkage between competitiveness and climate action. And that's something actually that the new EU Commission is paying a lot of attention. So we believe that the findings of this report is going to be very useful to define better climate action from now on. So why this is a special study? First of all, because it represents the whole business community in Spain. So we have made 800. We have made a survey to 800 companies. All sizes represent the entire business community. We have not only surveyed business with less than 3 workers, that are a lot in Spain. You will see later the numbers. So this is the data from the report. In Spain, we have 649,000 businesses with 3 or more employees. 99.8% are SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and represent 60% of employment. Here you have the survey data. It's our own estimation based on DIRSE and DigiGrow data from SMEs. What we have done is this, those working in statistics know the terminology, cross-quota sampling, in order to make sure that we have representation from each of the economic sectors that we are going to assess. We have done phone interviews to CEOs or to sustainability manager. And the confidence level is 95.5%. We did it, it's important the date, because we did it between October and November last year. So it was right before Dana in Valencia. So probably if we have done it later, the data would have been different. But still, you will see how some sectors are very different. There are some striking results. For those who don't know very well how the business community in Spain is categorized, here you have the data: 70% more or less services, 11% construction, more or less 11% industry and energy, and agriculture is about 9%. Size, we have a lot of micro enterprises, a lot of them, 75%, between 3 and 9 employees. Small businesses, which is until 50 employees, workers, it's almost 21%. And we have a small percentage, or relatively a small percentage, of medium and large companies. You see the data. Something that we also wanted to highlight is the innovation rate. Many companies don't have any kind of innovation strategy, which is also important when you will see later why I'm mentioning that. So this is the level of corporate action. We ask businesses what type of actions are you undertaking when it comes to climate. And they told us that almost 90% are doing something, which is great. It's a big percentage, 90% of them. Most of them are doing something related to mitigation. So it's the same number, it's 90% almost. Improving energy efficiency, putting circular economy practices in place are the two main measures. We will say later, but probably it's because that normally will bring economic benefits to the company. There are other things like fostering sustainable transport and using more renewable energies. Adaptation, it's been done by 45, almost half of them. So you will see here the big gap between mitigation and adaptation that everybody working in this climate arena are very much aware of it. Promoting water efficiency, of course, in Spain is a must and is the main measure. And managing climate risk is with a lower percentage. And there is something that could be seen as a small percentage of companies that are not undertaking any climate measure, which is 10%. We may think this is not big, but that represents 65,000 businesses. We have to be careful with that. There is a big percentage of businesses in Spain that are doing nothing in relation to climate. There you have some numbers in relation to levels of agreement. 60 more or less % believe that climate action is an opportunity for upgrading the businesses and open up new lines of businesses. 60% believe that rising energy and commodity prices encourage business climate action, which from my point of view is not that big. I thought the percentage was going to be bigger. Almost 50% believe that the cost of not addressing climate change is much greater than the cost of doing so. And still, there is this percentage, which is quite big, between 20 and 45%, that have a no clear position about any of the questions that we have asked. And that could be because they don't have sufficient information about climate change, or because they don't care really about that, which for us, we believe this is very important. Someone is telling me how time I have, but I don't see it from here because it's too small. Okay, then I have to be quicker. So climate strategies by sector. This is correspond to the other slide, mitigation, adaptation, agriculture. You will see that this is the sector that are doing most, both in mitigation and adaptation. And if you take attention to the industry and energy sector, they have the highest number of companies that does not undertake any initiative. Despite this is one of the sectors that has been regulated most over the last years. So you have the construction and services, and it's also important the role that business is in from investors. Almost 40% believe that investors are important and they are somehow pushing for climate action, while only 30% believe that consumers have any role on that. So really, consumers are not playing a big role here. A little bit more information about the strategies that they are taking. I have already mentioned improving energy efficiency. Interesting how industry and energy are also working on decarbonized supply chain. And well, you will see all this information in the data. So for those who want to know more about that, go for that. Also, we ask them what type of measures you were undertaking. So at least those are the numbers. It's 88% is about regulation. It's about compliance and making sure that they are complying with current regulation. So at least they are doing one of those: environmental standards, implementation of environmental standards, adopting ESG policy, etc. And then there is a smaller percentage, 42%, which is quite smaller compared to the other, that they are doing at least something that is transformative for the business, which in many occasions is related to R&D and innovation investments and things like that. So you will see later, what we have done is to understand, using this difference between compliance and transformational instruments, how businesses undertaking this type of measures rate differently in terms of profits and in terms of other type of things. So you see here, the graphic in the middle is the difference between compliance strategy only and transformative and compliance strategy. You see that the big difference is within large companies. So large companies understand that they have to go beyond compliance, and they really have to spend on innovation and understand things in a different manner. And that this is a big gap between large companies in both case of strategies. And there you have also the data from the different sectors. Well, don't have time to go into a lot of details, but you will see there the difference. Then when we talk about the cost benefits balance, the cost benefits balance of business climate action, here you have what they believe. The blue one is those that believe that benefits far outweigh costs, and the orange one is like slightly outweigh costs. So you see that again, those who are working on transformational and compliance strategies believe that it makes sense. Benefits are much higher. And you will see that this is that will go on over the data. This difference, I mean, impact on climate action on business competitiveness. So what we have done is to try to understand how climate action is translated into the three different elements that that somehow build up the competitiveness of a company. One is innovation. The other one is the orange color, production processes and supply chain. And the third one is the blue color, internationalization. So as you can see, innovation is the main channel through how climate action is being transformed into competitiveness, better competitiveness level of the company. Here you have more or less around 45 and 50% of the five first element, fostering a culture of innovation, developing more sustainable products and services, ramping up investments to bring clean and more efficient technologies, encouraging the monitoring of technical and technological developments, and building in-house human resources focusing on innovation. So for us, this is the main data that we believe are the value added of our report, because from what we know, this is the first time that those data has been produced. Then when it comes to production processes and supply chains, we have improving products. There are 40% that companies that experience that, and 36% of companies that see increasing levels of automation, digitalization, etc. For those that climate action is translated into internationalization of the products, there is a small percentage of them that believe that this is interesting for them to generate reputational advantage. So innovation is the main area of action. There are also some negative impacts of climate action, of course. Some of them believe that climate action is increasing costs of supply chain, and it's not a small percentage. Also, some of them believe that there are hindering outsources of goods and services. And also a few of them, 36% in total, believe that climate action is making them more difficult to maintain current supply chain. So we see here that not everything is positive. And something that to me it was a surprise is that overall there is a moderate result on finance. So doing climate action for businesses is not transformed into getting finance in an easier way. For them, they don't see really, only a few of them see that there is a positive link there, something like 30%. And this is the results of doing climate action in terms of innovation, in terms of better supply chain and externalization. So those are also another very important results from the report. 42, more or less around 40% of the companies see improvements in environmental impact of the businesses, improving corporate images, enhancing brand equity, and with lower percentage, they also see improving productivity, raising turnover, and creating more jobs. This is where I was telling you that we have all the time during all the different data that we have assessed, we have differentiated what has happened with the companies that do only compliance of regulation and what happened with the companies that do also do transformational based on innovation and R&D and things like that. And you see that in all cases, even if the results are positive, improving companies' images, bolstering companies' impacts on the environment, and so on, the positive impact is much higher to those who are doing transformational policies, transformational initiatives. So it's a very nice manner to see that compliance is okay and will bring you very positive results. But if you go beyond that and you do something else, the results will be even better. Impact on employment, because, for example, for the issue of just transition, this is very important. We also wanted to ask how you see it. There is more or less 40% of them that see any impacts on the need to upskilling and reskilling the workforce. There you have 40% of them, I have already mentioned. Also, 30% believe that they need to enhance talent within and in the recruitment process and the retention process. And there is a smaller percentage, but still it's positive, job creation, a little bit as well on job destruction. We have some colleagues here from the Just Transition Institute, and they know a lot about this job destruction, job creation process that may happen at the same time in the same company, in the same territory. And finally, I think this is the final section. This is the climate change perception among the Spanish businesses. So this is the perception of how they believe their own companies is prepared to address climate change. So you see directly that the industry and energy is the one that believe that they are not that well prepared. They have the greatest reservation about what they have to do, which is very interesting as well, because they are the most regulated, they are the most affected by many of the climate mechanisms that are in place, but still they have, well, this issue. Regarding, well, you have here other numbers from services and agriculture and construction that they believe in a better situation. The percentage of businesses that feel they are ready to tackle issues are very high for large companies. It's very high for innovation as well, you will see, 83% compared to 63% for micro businesses. So really we have this gap there with the small and micro businesses that we really need to do something to support them because they are lagging behind for climate action. Regarding consensus, there is a greater consensus on climate change in the business community. So we may think that this is not the case. From time to time, reading some headlines from newspapers and listen to TV news. But see here the level of agreement, net degree of agreement, which is the orange one. There are between 40 and 30% of agreement about the energy and commodity prices fast-track business climate action, for example. Climate action is upgrading business opportunity, and what I was mentioning before about the cost. Okay, this is, let me see. Yeah, the impact of climate change is already felt by businesses. This is the middle graphic is where I was thinking before when I mentioned this data of the survey done before Dana. You see that agriculture, there are 53.8% of percentage of businesses working in agriculture that are already feeling the impacts. I'm sure that if we do the survey now, that percentage would have been higher. Again, there is big difference between large and medium companies. 83% they already know it and feel it. And well, you see there, the small businesses is the small percentage. Here you have in the left-hand side graphic is when do you think that's going to happen? So 36% is already seeing that today. and around 17% that they believe that it will happen in 5 years. Still, there is a big percentage, like 11 and 2.2, that they don't expect any change, they don't expect any impact, or they don't have information about that. So, what are the main drivers? Why businesses are deciding to do climate action? So there are three elements that are the reasons that are that are moving there most. First of all, because there is an ethical or moral obligation. The first, which is the biggest one. The second one is because it enhances the company images. And the third one, only the third one, is because this is a legal or regulatory obligation. And there are a few other reasons, but in that businesses believe are important, but not that important. The three first one, which is about it's important for our customers, it helps to manage risk, and the others one. So ethical reasons, images reasons, and regulatory obligation are the main drivers. And that is the very last one. This is the main barriers and the challenges. What are the barriers? We also wanted to know, to those who are not doing climate action, why you are not doing that? And this is what they tell us. Because we don't believe that customers really demand that. So we don't see the point of doing that. This is 60% of them. Or they are, the customers don't want to pay the additionality that means climate action for products and services. The second one is we don't have funds. There is no financing for investment in decarbonization. We will have, the next panel will be about green finance. Maybe you can discuss about that. And the third element is we don't have the knowledge. We don't know how to do it. So it is very important to pay attention to these three reasons, because if we want all the businesses that are not yet on board on climate action, we need to work on them with that. And what they are requesting, they want more funds, more grants for sustainable investments and technology, and they want simplification of regulation administrative processes. That is exactly what the EU is right now working on. And they also want to do other things, but then the percentages are much lower. And that would be it. Thank you very much.